I think people get tattooed because, there's not a lot of real stuff left in the world, and it's all like a 24-hour news cycle. Nothing lasts. With tattooing, it's blood, it's pain, it's permanence. When you get that needle in your skin for the first time, you have to be there. You can't just call it in. You have to sit there and take the pain, and then sit there and heal it, and then you got to live with the consequences of your action. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to East West Podcast with your host, Horisumi. It's been a while. It's been a few weeks. I've been busy. Chaz here from America. Tattooed him for like a week straight. And just had a lot of stuff going on. And quite frankly, I've just been, reevaluating why I do these podcasts and what I'm trying to get across in these podcasts, over the course of the last year or so I've been doing them. I've talked a lot about ideas I've had and things I want to do and, forming groups and this and that, and just been really thinking a lot about that stuff. Like there's other podcasts out there that are, doing tattoo history or talking about motifs and stuff. And I still like to dabble in that, but that's not the sort of the main function of what I'm doing, right? I do enough homework and research for my actual work. The podcast, the way it's developed for me, is more about, getting out my philosophy and my ideas about what tattooing is to me and what I think it should be, in my worldview, right? I talked about having a group and having this and that, but, at the end of the day, I don't want to spend more time online, right? And that's why that never came to fruition. I don't want to be in chat groups, chatting with other people about shit. I'm not spending enough time on fucking social media as it is. So I was sitting with my friend Ian last night, and we were talking about all this stuff and sort of spitballing, and what we've come to realize, and I've come to realize, and a lot of people have come to realize independently, is, there's this big schism in tattooing now, right? There's the old guys and the new guys, right? And this younger, new generation of tattooers that have no, concept of the past, of history, or of tattoo culture. They're vastly outnumbering they're vastly outnumbering us, to be frank, right? Tattooers, tattooing is a young man's game right now. A lot of young people involved that have no fucking clue what they're doing. And again, my podcast, if you don't like it, don't fucking listen. I haven't gotten any hate mail in a while, so I'm expecting this one to generate some good hate mail. All right? I will not fucking hold back what I think and how I feel, because when I go into tattooing, and some of my best friends in the world are tattooers. And some of my least favorite fucking people in the world are tattooers, right? Tattooers in general run a full gamut of great people to motherfuckers and assholes, right? I didn't get into tattooing to be popular. My attitude in tattooing was always, I'm making tattoos for clients, right? I wasn't about the suck up, cool crowd, popularity contest, fucking bullshit that all these tattooers seem to be a part of. Some of y'all think there's a fucking trophy to be had when you become the most popular fucking tattooer. It's not like that, right? So I've always just focused on making good tattoos and being good to my clients and providing good customer service and running a good shop, right? That's always been my focus. And that has earned me some enemies. Because sometimes people don't like to see it. They don't like to see you be successful, right? Especially when you don't play by their rules, right? So I don't really hold back with my podcast. So I'm not censoring myself, right? Especially now, I don't give a fuck, right? Tattooing is so fucking, so fucked at the moment, in the sense that, like I was saying, the schism between the old and the young, and the clients, you clients out there, you don't even know what the fuck's going on, right? You see a fucking shop and you think, oh, this is a professional tattoo shop. It looks nice inside. It looks like this guy's got a portfolio of some okay work. And you have no fucking clue, dude. These people don't know what the fuck they're doing, right? Like, most of them don't know what the fuck they're doing, All right, these are people who learned how to tattoo on TikTok and YouTube, and they're doing designs that they saw on TikTok and YouTube and Pinterest. And because that's all they know how to do, that's what they're selling to the clients. And no one knows how to make a thick line or make a solid line or do shading. So they're all doing dot shading because they don't know how to do shading, right? Because it's hard, right? And they can't make a thick line because you can't make thick lines with those pen and wand machines. They can't handle it. You need a proper machine to make a thick line. So there's a whole bunch of tattooers that don't know how to put color in, can't do thick lines, and can't do shading. And I've had them come through here as well, you know, unbeknownst to me until after the fact. I don't even know if charlatan is the right word, because they're not even pretending to be something they're not. They just don't even know what the fuck they're supposed to be, right? These are like those wands and pens, you know, the rounds, or what they call the dildo machines. I mean, these were used for doing cosmetic makeup, right? Microblading, right? So there's an entire industry of tattooing built around these microblading machines with the cartridges. And because they're limited in what they can do, you know, the tattoo styles have all had to evolve around the limitations of the machine, which is why you see all this, you know, what I call temporary tattooing, all this fine line stuff and all this silly stuff, dots and fine lines and shit that doesn't last, you know. And for me, I mean, you know, I talk a lot about tattooing being symbols of power and being like talismans, and, you know, like you wear your tattoo, it's for your whole life, it's gonna look good, it's gonna be with you till the day you die. And none of this stuff going on is gonna do that, right? And this isn't about me fucking selling my tattoos. I'm busy, man. This is just me telling you what I think, right? And you don't fucking like it, I don't care. But this is the truth, right? And this isn't just me saying this. This is a lot of people that won't say it publicly, right? All this modern fucking tattooing going on is horseshit, right? And all these fucking young tattooers out there that refuse to learn from older tattooers, called us gatekeepers and called us names, said we were too hard to work for, didn't want to put any effort in, right? All these kids out there doing all this shit are fucking destroying tattooing. You know, right now, as I spoke in my last podcast, there's a slump, right? The boom times are over. And it's attributed to many things, right? The economy, the interest rates, the cost of living, but also the saturation in tattooing and the just general mediocrity of mainstream tattooing these days. And yeah, there are some great tattooers out there, Japanese, black and gray, realism dudes, but they are the exception now. The vast majority of tattooing is, it's just fucking hot garbage, right? It's just, you know, and this is what the people want. They come in my shop and they want it. And you know, we try to do it to the best of our ability in terms of giving them what they want, but also getting them a good tattoo as well. So they're not asking for a good tattoo, they're asking for a little fine line piece of shit, right? But we do it as a good tattoo, you know? And so I think my mission, you know, like I talked about before with the idea of what my podcast would be, I think my mission is to create awareness of the schism in tattooing and help tattooers either choose one side or the other, right? You know, look, anyone at any point in their career, and I was one of them, you know, I wasn't a great tattooer when I started. I didn't start off as some gifted fucking kid. I made a choice to become a good tattooer. You know, I made a choice to work hard, and I made a choice to be a student, right? And everyone can do that. And I see a lot of the guys in my comments that seem really, they're into that, right? But then I look at their work, and I'm like, man, okay, well, I get it. You want to do that, then do it, right? Right? Because a lot of them, the work is pretty fucking subpar. And obviously people who are already successful have an idea of what they're doing, and people that are doing subpar work need to work harder. So I'm not judging your work, but you need to work hard, right? There's no shortcut. There's no fucking shortcut, right? You got to put the work in. You got to get up every day and draw. You got to look at designs. You got to do a lot of shit. You got to put the fucking work in. And this is where the difference is between, give me one second. And this is where the difference is between these young tattooers, not even young, just whatever age. Let's call them the new era tattooers and the old era tattooers, right? The new era tattooers are drawn on their iPads. The new era tattoos are using brush sets on their iPads that are the actual fucking drawing. Like, I don't use an iPad to draw, but I know what brushes are. You buy these sets, you brush, and boom, there's a Greek god. Boom, there's a fucking, there's a head of Jesus. Boom, there's a fucking, heart with a rose, right? They're not even fucking drawing, they're not even tracing. They're buying these sets of images, and they're just compiling shit, and then they're running it through the stencil machine, right? And like Ian called them last night, they're not even fucking tattooers, man. You're not a tattooer, you're a fucking applicator, right? You don't even know what the fuck you're doing, right? You guys are applicators, right? And yeah, I mean, it sounds like I'm being fucking, like I'm hating on this shit. But fuck me, man. I get these guys writing me fucking coming to want to work here. And they're putting these resumes together with their fucking shit, right? Resumes, I've got this education, I've done this, and I'm wonderful, and I can bring all this luster to your studio. Okay. I've got this many TikTok views. I've got this many impressions on Instagram. I've got this many followers. I'm like, uh-huh. Right? Let's see your tattoos. And your tattoos fucking suck, right? This is the problem. Everybody wants to be about everything else but the tattooing, right? You're sending me some big, long-winded thing about how fucking great you are, and you're doing little fine line fucking shit like this, right? That's bullshit. Or I get other guys that, the racer tattooers that want to do the big tattoos as fast as they fucking can and charge as much money as they can, and it's like some, and I get it, like 15 years ago, I thought doing tattoos fast was something to be proud of. And then I realized it wasn't, and I slowed down. I mean, I never did it for I just tried to do tattoos quick, try to give people value for money, right? Because I was charged by the hour. I felt an obligation, right? And now there just seems to be this whole category of tattooers that are trying to do large work as quick as possible using giant magnums on their machines and trying to charge these exorbitant day rates for it because they think they're giving value for doing tattoos really fast. And, like I've spoken about 100 times, there's a formula to tattooing, right? Speed times quality, this kind of stuff, right? If you do it really fucking quick, even if the artwork looks good, but you brush that ink in as opposed to sink the ink in, the tattoo's not going to age well. That's just a fact. There's no way around that. That's why all these guys getting their leg sleeves done in Bali in 1 day, 2 days, for whatever, $1,000, or getting their 2 sleeves done in 2 days, right? It looks good for the photo. They're fucking stoked, right? They look great until they heal. And when they heal and they start to age after like 6 weeks, it all turns to shit because there's no ink in there. It was all surface ink. It's all brushed in, right? This is a problem. And it's because these kids that do this stuff, whether it's in Bali or here or anywhere else, they don't actually see their shit healed or care to understand, to learn from their work. And this is the thing I've touched on before, is that if you're not actually seeing your work healed and seeing your work aged, and you're not getting that feedback, you don't adjust your mentality, right? You're not really a seasoned craftsman, right? And if you're not going to take advice from other people, right? Especially these young kids, man, they don't want to hear from guys like me. Young kids watching this right now are going, fuck that guy, right? All right, well, fuck me. Do shit tattoos for the rest of your life, right? I've had young people in here and tried to help them and tried to guide them. They don't want to fucking hear it, right? Hey, maybe draw a stencil properly instead of photocopying a picture. Nah, too fucking hard. Nobody wants to put any fucking work in. Nobody wants to do any preparatory drawings or learn how a machine fucking works or, try something that's out of their, very basic box that they work from, right? So my mission is going to be to create awareness on this. And if it ruffles some feathers, that's fine. If you want to be part of, not everybody can be from the old era. I was a young head hanging out with older dudes when I was a kid. I was always the youngest. That's fine. Younger guys that have started on this path that want to get on the good path, right? Let's do it, right? That's going to be what I'm going to try to do, is help bring back some sort of, I don't know, tradition, morals, ethics, which is what I talk about the most, but also skill sets. This is a craft. You're not a fucking artist. You're not an applicator. You're a craftsman, right? Art is like painting on a thing or sculpting something, right? A craftsman makes stuff. You're making tattoos because you need to understand your machines. You need to understand your artwork and your designs. You need to understand your pigments. You need to understand skin. You need to understand people, right? You need to work with people. You need to be able to sell yourself and market yourself. It's a fucking, tattooing is a craft, right? And so the people that don't understand that, you know, are a lot of these young people, right? And a lot of these new era tattooers. So this is, you know, I've always had this attitude. I'm just vocalizing it right now. I have a terrible fucking reputation for having this attitude. I mean, I came up hard, in not just in tattooing, but in life. And when I had apprentices here, when I first started 11 years ago in this shop, I'm much more chilled out now. But, you know, and I was always good, but I was hard on my people, right? Because I'm trying to set a foundation, right? Building a foundation of discipline and hard work, you know, and, you know, people fucking can't handle it, right? And then they leave and they fucking squawk around all the other shops. And so all these people have this idea of who I am, this fucking terrible idea. I mean, I've got guys that have worked here for fucking 6-7 years. I've never had a bad word with them. They're great. They're awesome fucking people. They're awesome artists. They do what they're supposed to do. I do what I'm supposed to do, right? I provide a place for them to work. I provide everything. They do their work. They show up on time. This is it. It's not that fucking hard. You know, I've had many people here for years come and go, happy. And then you got the people that, you know, that want to rip off clients and steal and fucking show up late or not show up or not be prepared or, you know, fucking name it, right? And those are the ones that run around and fucking squawk about how fucking hard and how toxic I am and how this and that. Man, I am, what you see is who I am, right? I'm straightforward as fuck. And so expecting people to do what they're supposed to do apparently is a toxic fucking trait, right? I've been called the list of fucking names. A fucking Nazi, a white supremacist, a fucking biker, a fucking all this stuff, right? Just for expecting people to do the fucking work, right? And then not suffering it when they don't. Hey, you know what, you want to be my apprentice? You can't smoke fucking weed, okay? That's just the fucking rules. You don't like it, you can fucking go, right? Yeah. And then they're smoking fucking weed, right? You know? When you're a grown-up, you want to smoke weed, that's fine, but you want to work for me. I don't want you fucking dusty every morning, and I want you fucking motivated, right? That's not a lot to ask. I'm trying to give you the fucking world in a matchbox. A tattoo apprenticeship, right? If you successfully learn how to be a good tattooer, you can go anywhere in the fucking world and be successful. You know, I'm a high school dropout. I own a farm, I got a shop, I've got employees, I work hard, right? Tattooing is a gift. It's a fucking gift if you put the fucking effort in, right? You know, if you put the effort in and you do the work and you follow the guidelines, and this is the problem with the new era, is there's no fucking guardrails. There's no guide rails. They're not interested in the past. They're not interested in building on the foundation of what was already there, right? They don't even know what fucking exists, right? And this is the problem. When you try and explain that, and they're just like, shut up, old man. I'm like, all right, well, you know what? Old men are tired of shutting up, right? So I'm going to point out the problems with this shit, right? You know, the corporatization of tattooing is a part of this as well. And I just want to be really fucking clear with this, okay? I know a lot of guys that do podcasts, and I watch some of the shit. I'm not like I said before, I'm not your fucking guru. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm not trying to fucking sell you my course on how to tattoo like me. I'm not trying to sell you a book. I might make a book later, but right now I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm not trying to sell you my inks. I'm not fucking selling out my fucking secrets. You know, I know a lot of these guys that love Japanese tattooing. What are they doing? They're finding out the little secret fucking things. They're finding out, oh, what inks are the fucking masters using? Oh, I'm gonna get some and I'm gonna sell them on fucking Instagram. Or I'm gonna find out what Tabori needles masters use, and I'm gonna get them and I'm gonna sell them on Instagram. You know, I could have a fucking Tabori school. I could have a whole web store of selling you Tabori needles, Tabori sumi sticks, Tabori fucking tools. But I don't. I'm not here to sell you anything, right? So just keep that in mind when I give you my thoughts and opinions. I fucking care about tattooing, right? This has been my life for the last 30-something years, right? I've got 3 daughters, which I'm hoping 1 or 2 of them get into tattooing. I've got 2 senior apprentices that will be with me for life, and I will guide them and I will teach them fucking everything, and they will have their own dojos at some point, right? I've got a younger female apprentice, and she's doing really well. I'm very impressed by her hard work so far. And she's quite young. She just turned 18, right? And she's got the right mindset, right? You got to put the work in. You got to lay the foundation. You got to pay the dues. Not pay the dues to me. You got to pay the dues to the fucking tattooing, to yourself, right? You know what I mean? Like, this is the whole mindset that, you know, this new era just doesn't fucking get, right? I mean, I got guys emailing me from the UK that want to come here, and how much can I fucking charge? What's the most amount of money that I can charge at your shop to make tattoos? I'm just like, dude, don't fucking bother. That's not I don't want you. Right? I like money, but that's not how we do it, and that's not what we do, right? So because of this attitude, because of my bluntness, again, like I say, I catch a lot of shit, and I probably catch a heap of hate mail. Bring it. I don't fucking care. You can't hurt me, right? People spread terrible rumors about me all the time. I don't give a fuck, right? Horrible shit, right? I don't fucking care. You know, you're showing me who you are when you say that stuff, right? You're a fucking loser, right? I'm trying to help, right? I DM with people all the time talking about tattooing. And the people with the right attitude, like I said in the Boripedia podcast, I do help people that want to be helped, that want to help themselves, right? And that's my main thing, is because I care about tattooing, right? And so this old school mentality needs to be, you know, embraced. If we're going to save tattooing and not let it get run into the fucking ground, we need to save tattooing. We need to preserve. We need to become the conservatives of the tattoo world, right? Liberalism is what got tattooing to where it is now. Teaching everybody everything out in the fucking open. You know, and all the people who didn't, I don't want to use the word deserve, but who didn't earn it, you know, having access to all this stuff, right? And the corporatization, as I touched on before, is a big part of this, right? And these big corporations like Nexus, you know, that own a piece of all the ink companies and the machine companies, you know, obviously their driving ideology is to sell more equipment. And to sell more equipment, you need more tattoos, not tattooers, right? And you need more customers. So there's all this fucking shit tattooing and shit tattooers out there that are buying this corporate stuff. I still use fucking Dettol to put my stencils on. I'm not buying stencil stuff. I'm not buying all these little things that everyone spends money on to, you know, support these fucking companies. I don't do any of that. I make my own inks and make my own needles. You know, I buy as little stuff from corporate tattooing as I possibly fucking can, right? Because that's part of being a self-sufficient craftsman, right? Being a craftsman is to enjoy the process of what you do, right? You know, like if you're a guy who sculpts stuff out of fucking logs with a chainsaw, then, you know, you're tuning your chainsaw, you're sharpening your chainsaw chains, you know, you're finding your own wood, you're doing all that stuff because that's the joy of being a craftsman. And I look at tattooing the same way. It's not just a 9 to 5 where I come in and I do it. You know, I chose Tabori 6 years ago. It's broken my fucking body, right? It's hard. I mean, I'm almost 53. I stand 8 hours a day tattooing, and it's difficult. But I get joy out of it because I've you know, it was a new lease on tattooing for me to learn how to do this and to struggle and to you know, discover how to be better. And I still struggle. I mean, I'm a fucking, the older I get, the more humility I have towards tattooing, you know, this rock star attitude that a lot of people have. I mean, and look, I'm not saying I never used to have it. I used to wear a lot of fucking gold, and I used to, you know, do this shit like, you know, a while ago, and I don't do that anymore, right? I've become much more, you know, humble towards my relationship with tattooing and my relationship with the business. And, you know, my outlook has always been as a student, you know, but I reached a level where I thought, okay, you know, I'm fucking this, right? And I've discarded that. right? And I realize I'm never going to be that. I'm always going to be the student. And I'm always going to, there's days where I'm like, fuck, I suck, man. I fucking suck. I need to do more. I need to try harder, right? And then there's good days where I'm like, okay, I'm starting to fucking get it. You know, it's the struggle of trying to, you know, chase this perfection ideal, right? And to always be better, you know? And this is what motivates me and gets me out of bed in the morning, right? You know, and there's, you know, it's hard, right? It's hard, especially, you know, running a business, having a family, all this stuff, right? But this is the struggle, and this is why I try to keep it real. And the issue, I mean, and I'm not being totally selfless making these videos here. You know, I want good tattooers to come work with me, or I want people with the right heads. I want the old head people to come work with me. I don't want bitter 50-year-old fucking tattooers, which there's no shortage of. The guys who have spent too much time in the woods, too much time in the street shops that fucking hate tattooing and hate customers and can't be fucked. You know, I don't want those guys. You know, I want the guys that have the passion, the drive, and the fire that maybe just need the path, right? So I want to create the path. I want to show you there is a path, right? This is what I want to do. And I'm not charging for this. This is just going to be me talking. And if you go watch my other videos, I talk a lot about this stuff, about cultivating the right ethos and the right mindset and, you know, that kind of thing. And you can have a personal relationship with me if you DM me and, you know, I can help you a little bit, all right? I don't mind. I might not reply right away, but for people who are into it, you know, I want that because I want to have a future where, yeah, I can have some great tattooers working with me that are really into it. And I want to see other people doing the right thing. Like, I don't mind having other shops on the corner, you know, healthy competition is good, right? What I don't want is 6 fucking shops around the corner all in one building doing really cheap, shitty fucking tattoos and, you know, ruining the client base because they just pump out shit and garbage and it turns people off. That's what I don't want because that's not good for anybody. You know what I mean? You know, and especially when you've got, like we were saying, well, I was saying with Ian last night, you know, you've got did bad tattoos come first or bad tattooers, right? Who's doing, how did this happen, right? The chicken or the egg. And I was like, there's no fucking chicken, dude. It's all eggs. It's bad tattooing being pushed by bad tattooers who could only do bad style tattooing, right? And this is what has to end, you know? Like, understanding there's more to tattooing than just coming in and churning out a bunch of fine line bullshit. Like, everyone's a fucking fine line expert now. It's hilarious, right? Can you do a fucking thick line? Can you do shading? Can you put solid color in? These are the things that matter with tattooing, right? So this work ethic of understanding tattooing and understanding what needs to be done and understanding what your limitations are, this is, I think, where it all starts, right? You know, and again, this is stuff that I reflect on myself every fucking day. A Tabore piece comes in and I look at it and I go, oh, fucking shading could have been a little bit smoother or this or that, and I'm tidying stuff up. You know what I mean? This isn't me on some high horse. I'm in the fucking trenches doing this shit too, right? So, you know, I guess this is what separates being a professional craftsman from all the dilettantes out there, right? And again, it's because customers, you know, clients, the regular guy that just wants to get tattooed has no fucking idea. The young generation, the new era, they're great. I mean, they're good on TikTok, they're good on social media. They're not very busy right now because tattooing's died in the ass for them. So they're making a lot of videos and they're really good with technology. And so they're selling themselves, but what are they selling? You know what I mean? And so this is why it's important to understand the difference between the real tattooers and the fake tattoos, right? You know, like what's a real tattoo? What's gonna last? And that's at the end of the day what matters, right? That's what I talk about. What is a fucking tattoo that's gonna last, right? Why are you getting tattooed, right? What's your motivation to get tattooed? I mean, you know, I can go on for a while about this, but that's the basic thing. I want to bring back the real attitude. And this is like in Japan, you know, which I use as my blueprint. You know, look, there's a lot of shit tattooing in Japan too. What's gone on here in the West has also happened in Japan. There's a lot of terrible tattooing there. But the blueprint of how the apprenticeship system works in Japan, and the work ethic and the ethos, like Horisumi 3 is an example. you know, one of my inspirations. You know, he did a 10-year apprenticeship under his master before he went out on his own. 10 years, right? And, you know, and you can say that, well, that attributed a lot to his success, right? Having that foundation, right? I mean, here I do, you know, 4 or 5 year apprenticeships just to become a decent tattooer with a good understanding of the business and a good understanding of what a tattoo is and what it means to tattoo properly. You know, that can keep going, and that's just to be a machine tattooer. If you want to be a Tabori tattooer under me, it could be 10 years, right? Because you need a lot of guidance, you know, and you need to have that foundation, and you need to be around other people to get that feedback, right? So it's not a quick fix. Like, I've been tattooing 31 years now professionally. Like I said, man, I'm still a student, right? I'm still trying to be real humble about it and really work hard at it. And I could probably work harder, but like I said, you know, I have some distractions in my life with the family and stuff like that. You know, I think a lot of the other stuff you see on social media, you know, the tattoos, some of them aren't even real. They're all done in Photoshop, and you know, someone does a tattoo and they touch it up in Procreate, and so it's not even, you're not even seeing real stuff, and they're pushing these styles that are fake digitally, and then you're trying to reproduce something. So my advice to everyone here, tattooers and clients and people interested in tattoos, go out on the street and look. Spend a few weeks just looking at other people's tattoos. Stop and talk to people. A lot of the time are happy to discuss their tattoos, right? So go have a look, right? I mean, just talk to people. Look at a tattoo. How old's that? Who did that? You know, do you get a lot of sun? You know, and talk to them and see what real tattoos look like in real life. And that is a big difference to what you're seeing digitally. Like, the only thing I digitally alter on my photos is I'll put a black background in, and I might adjust the warmth of it. If the lights are a little bit warm, I'll cool the lights so it's not such a yellowy photo. I'll make it a little bit neutral, you know? And other than that, that's what my tattoos look like, right? They're bright, the colors are bright, the blacks are black. That's what a tattoo should look like, right? Not washed out, and not faded after 3 months. You know, I mean, again, taking photos of healed tattoos as well isn't the same as taking photos of fresh tattoos, right? With big work like I do, if I take a photo of a back piece that's completed on the day, 95% of it's healed and has been for a while. It might be that one little section I did that day that's fresh. So you get a good idea of what it should look like healed, right? So there's that to consider, right? So, look, I ranted a lot today. Obviously, I give a shit about this. I'm passionate about it. I've been talking a lot about it. And that's why I haven't really done a podcast. You know, I still have a couple of clients that I want to interview and talk about the process and stuff. And I'm still going to do that. But I've just been trying to figure out, you know, how I can help, right? And I think the number one thing that we can do as tattooers is get back to basics, right? Get back to basics, lay a foundation of being real tattooers, learning from somebody, right? I mean, back in the old days, you know, tattooers used to pen pal with each other and send photos, send physical photos to each other. Hey, this is my latest work. Here's 10 pictures. What do you think? Do you want to critique them? Right? Or you just be friends with your peers, right? You know, like somebody who are both on the same level. You know, you send photos to them. They send. This is before the internet. Send photos to each other, get some ideas, you know, maybe learn something, you know, and build that camaraderie. You know, 20 years ago, there wasn't that many tattoo shops, and you'd go to a new town, like if I went on holidays to, say, Vienna, Austria, I'd pop into the local good shop, have a chat, introduce myself. Hey, I know this guy, I worked for this guy, I learned from this guy, and then they go, oh, okay, cool, you're cool, let's go for dinner, right? And like Clay Decker used to say, you know, tattoo shops were like the embassies. Every city had the embassy tattoo shop where you'd go and you'd meet your kind, meet your people, and hang out with them and share, right? I want to bring that back. I miss the old days. And as much as I've never put a focus or a premium on developing those kind of tattoo relationships. I've been too focused on just making tattoos. And look, I'm not really, I'm a social person, but I'm not a really out there, you know, I'm just a little bit, you know, whatever you want to call it, right? I'm going to try and soften a little bit as I get older. So yeah. So listen, let me know your thoughts on this, and we'll take it from there. And I'll develop some more ideas and stuff. And my advice, you know, is to stay humble, stay a student, and work hard. There's no shortcuts, man. Throw your iPad in your desk, use it for reference, put images on your iPad, use it for reference, and draw on paper. Learn to draw on paper. If you want to be a serious tattooer, you know. I know some really good tattooers that did amazing paintings and amazing drawings on paper, and they switched to an iPad to become, you know, more efficient or whatever you want to call it. And their work has suffered for it. And I would never say that to them. But you can see it. Their work has suffered. Their drawings have suffered, right? Maybe they put less effort in. Maybe it's too fucking easy. Maybe there's a missing component to drawing on an iPad that there isn't, you know, that paper has, you know. But I encourage you to draw on paper. And if you're a client, if you're a tattoo fan, if you're interested in tattooing, go look at real tattoos, right? And go suss out real tattooers. And there are plenty of real tattooers out there. But you're going to have to sift, right? You're going to have to sift through the crowd and figure it out. And the best way to do that is to look at tattoos on the street and talk to people. Look at the tattoo, ask them who did it, quiz them out a little bit, you know? And that's a great way to find a good tattooer. So, all right, guys. That's a big rant for today. I usually don't do podcasts this long, just me, but I had to get this out today. All right. And like I said, my DMs are open, or you can email me or whatever through the website, horisumi.com. And let's see if we can get at least some section of tattooing back on track. Now, if you're a young tattooer or an old tattooer or whatever, and you want to come work with me, send me an email. And if your work's good enough, then you know, we take guests here. No problem at all. If your work's not good enough and you're dedicated to becoming better, then perhaps I can point you in the right direction to get a little bit better, and then we can take it from there. All right? Thanks for listening, guys. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you again soon. All right? Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.